There are various trophic level in the food chain as we have discussed previously also. And if we were discussing about the yesterday, we have discussed about the 10% law. Let me tell you that 10% law is that only 10% of energy will flow from one tropic level to another tropic level. That is only 10% of the available energy which is there in the producer will be passed on to the primary consumer. Only 10% of the energy available to the primary consumer will be passed on to the secondary consumer, and so on. But if we talk about that plant have the producer have the ability to synthesize their own food with the help of sunlight, because they trap the sunlight and convert it into chemical energy. Here only what plants are able, they only use 1% of available sunlight to them. They are not trapping all the 10%. They are just trapping 1% of energy which is available to the plants. That's what, so 10% law is applicable to only the tropic levels which are present in the food chain, right? There are certain characteristics of this energy transfer which take place from one tropic level to another tropic level. If we see, plant will transfer the energy to the, if I talk about the simplest food chain, it will transfer the energy to the deer. Deer will transfer the energy to the lion or tiger, or only 10% of available energy will be transferred from one particular tropic level to another tropic level. The direction is, the transfer of energy is unidirectional. That means it's not possible that deer will pass on the energy to the plant, or lion can be eaten by deer. It is not possible, because the flow of energy is unidirectional. Okay, then the energy that is captured by the autotrophs does not revert back to the sun. It is not possible in any manner to revert back the energy which is trapped by the plants to the sun. And the energy which passes to the herbivorous is not possible that they will transfer. Reverse of energy is not possible. Reverting the energy back to the same tropic level is not possible, because energy flows only in one direction. This was the certain characteristic of the energy transfer, and we have to discuss about that impact of the human activities on our environment. We have discussed about the biological magnification. Now we have to discuss about how do the human activity affect the environment. But let me tell you, before we discuss about the effects, we have to understand that every day, a lots and lots of waste is added by human to this planet. Out of that waste, if we want to classify, a lot of billions and billion tons of waste debris is generated by the humans on daily basis. We need to manage this waste if we want to save this planet. So for that, we have to understand that waste produced by the human is of two types. One is biodegradable and one is non-biodegradable. Biodegradable waste is that waste which is organic one. Biodegradable is the organic waste which can be degraded by the decomposers. It can be degraded by the decomposers into the simple inorganic substances, and which can help in enhancing the fertility of the soil. What we have studied in the 9th class in the biogeochemical cycles, particularly the nitrogen cycle, if you see, the backbone of nitrogen cycle is the nitrosomonas group of bacteria and ammonifying bacteria. These are those bacteria which convert the protein which is confined in the dead organic matter. The protein which is confined in the body of dead organic matter, these bacteria, whether it is nitrosomonas or whether it is ammonifying, at their own stage, they help in conversion of protein into nitrates, which can be utilized by the plant to regrow, which can enhance the fertility of the soil. Thus, biodegradable substances are those substances which are organic in nature and which can be broken down into simpler substances, which can be broken down into the inorganic compounds by the action of decomposers. Right now, if I talk about the non-biodegradable substance, the non-biodegradable substance are the one which cannot be broken down, by the decomposers. And generally, most of the substances which are man-made somehow are the non-biodegradable. Somehow, if I talk about the lot of waste which is organic in nature, that is only what we process. This biodegradable waste is what we process. For example, we take up the plant, residue of the plant is left over, right? Once we sow the crops of the particular crop, like if we talk about rice, if we talk about wheat, if we talk about the vegetable, we take the useful substances and leave the rest. All these are biodegradable. But if we talk about those substances which are generated by the people, like which is generated by the human for our own consumption, for example, this plastic, the plastic which is a non-biodegradable substance, and particularly the polyethylenes which we are using. These are the non-biodegradable substances. These are the one which are adding the heaps of garbage to this planet and making it the debris, making it full of debris. All our oceans today, you can find out the heaps of garbage everywhere. Even if you will go to the Everest, Mount Everest, there also you can find out that there are heaps of garbage which has been left by the mountaineers on those. So why this heap of garbage? If that garbage would have been biodegradable, then it would have been easy to degrade. But actual the problem is this, that is the non-biodegradable waste, like plastic, crockery, glass articles, metallic cans. There are somehow some non-biodegradable waste which can be recycled, like plastic can be recycled, but at the last, once we discard these substances, they are not degraded by the nature. So that's why we can say that such substances which cannot be broken down into the non-poisonous or harmless substances by nature are called as non-biodegradable. Non-biodegradable waste possess a remarkable degree of resistance. It will not allow the decomposers to decay it, to break it down. There are a lot of pesticides like DDT, aldrin, methylene, which once added to the soil will not be degraded by the decomposers. There is industrial waste, there is heavy metals like arsenic, cadmium, radioactive waste. That is all non-biodegradable waste, and which somehow some of the material, some of the waste can be recycled but maximum amount of waste enters into the food chain and get biomagnified. Like if I talk about DDT, DDT is just spread so that the insects which attack the crop will be killed, but in turn it enter into the plants also along with the water, and once whosoever consumes the plant, because only one plant or the one particular crop cannot be consumed. For example, if I talk about the human, for whole life, पूरी लाइफ में हम सिर्फ एक प्लांट कंज्यूम करके जिंदा नहीं रह सकते. We have to take maximum amount of plant. So maximum amount of harmful concentration of DDT will not be in the plant, it will be in the human body, it will be in the animal body. Why? Because DDT is a non-biodegradable waste. So we must know how to get rid of this waste. We should know if we are adding the waste to this environment, we should know that how to manage this waste, and that is what we call as waste management. There are certain methods, maybe some of them are scientific and some of them are even unscientific also, which we are using to get rid of this waste. Some of them are scientific, but some of them are non-scientific also. For example, the industrial waste, the water waste. What we are doing, all the industrial waste where water is used along with the heavy metals like arsenic, lead, cadmium, containing all these heavy metals which will pollute the environment and which are non-biodegradable in nature. What they will tend to do? They will tend to throw this waste which is generated by the heavy industry, they will throw this water into the drains of the city, and these drains ultimately end in the rivers. And that is why you can see today the rivers which are visible to us are no longer the river. If I talk about the river which is there in your vicinity, and that is river Yamuna, and in the vicinity there is river Hindon. If you will collect a sample of water, it's a dead river. It is not river, it is just only and only the garbage waste. If we collect the sample from these are the dead rivers. Why? Because there is no dissolved oxygen. And if there is no dissolved oxygen, it cannot promote the microbes to grow. And if there are no microbes, there will be no zooplanktons. If there are no zooplankton, then there can be no fishes or no eggs. So this is the most unscientific way of managing the garbage. How we are managing the garbage in India? Let me tell you. How we are managing the garbage in India is the most unscientific. But there are some scientific methods also. For that, we need to classify our garbage into biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Plus, we need to classify that whether it is solid garbage or liquid garbage. And on that basis, we can suggest the method that how we can. Sometimes garbage is also called as black gold. Why? Because this biodegradable garbage which is produced by the human can be used to generate the energy. It will ये हमारी सारी एनर्जी की प्रॉब्लम्स जितने भी है, it will tackle all those problems of energy once. But you know what happens in the Common household. Are we separating the garbage? No. The answer is big no. Because, okay, if we will separate, then also the person who collects the garbage will dump it in the same place. So first of all, we have to learn two things. That is, we should have two separate garbage bins. One is biodegradable and non-biodegradable, and one can be solid and liquid waste. Solid, the household waste is called as garbage. Disposable of this waste can be done in the most scientific way. One has whatever you can send for recycling can be sent for recycling. Should be sent for recycling. For example, like you can send the paper for recycling, and sometimes answer can be reusing also. It is not necessary that we throw the substance out. For example, the Pepsi bottles, the bottles of the cold drink should not be thrown because they will add only to the garbage. Then what should we do? We should do some aesthetic use of that. Let's make the flower pots out of it and make the hanging gardens. That can be the aesthetic way of using these. Reuse. First, while managing the garbage, we have to emphasize on the 3 R's. While managing this waste, the 3 R's has to be emphasized. Now, what are these 3 R's? It is recycle, reuse, and last but not the least, reduce. First of all, reduce. This is the thing. This is the mantra. Reduce. Reduce means reduce the use of those particular substances which are non-biodegradable. For example, if we talk about the pesticides, rather than having the inorganic pesticides, we can go for the organic farming. If I talk about the fertilizer, instead of fertilizer, we can go for the organic farming. Like instead of fertilizer, we can give rise to manure. We can use the manure. And for the pesticides, we can use the neem-based pesticide. We can use the babool-based pesticide. We can use turmeric as a pesticide. Sometimes we can use the turmeric, although cost will increase, but overall our environment will be saved. So reduce the use of those chemicals which are non-biodegradable and are adding to the waste. Then reuse all those substances which can be used again and again. For example, if I am having this pen, the body of this pen is made up of plastic. Now, it can be used and throw also. That once I use this pen, once I use it, then I can throw it and buy new one. But instead of that, doing that, if I instead of purchasing a new pen, if I purchase the ink, then automatically the money will be saved, as well as, let me tell you students, the pens you are using on daily basis, you are using 2-3 pens, and the body is made up of, the pen has the body which is made up of the plastic. Now what is, and it's the use and throw. Instead of that, if we will have such pens like what we have used in our childhood, they were called as fountain pens, where ink was to be filled in those pens. Only ink was to be purchased, pen was always there with us. So that is how can we reduce the use. Then we can reuse it again. And then recycle. If it is possible, use only that material which is recycled. Once all these three are to be considered, then even after that, if there is the waste which is generated, so that waste should be bifurcated into two. One is biodegradable and one is non-biodegradable, and then we must choose the method as per the waste available. For example, in India, open dumping is one of the best ways of dumping the garbage. Conventionally, this has been, and even today we are using the open dumping. We are preparing some dump yard and all the waste is dumped without taking into consideration that whether the waste is biodegradable or non-biodegradable. Before dumping the waste, if we try to segregate the waste, all our woes will be solved, because 90% of the waste, 90% of the garbage which is generated in the household, 90%, even 95% waste is biodegradable. Now, why it is becoming problem for us to dump that waste? It is becoming problem for us because we are not segregating the waste. So in India, the first thing has to be done for managing the waste. First thing has to be done, that is separate the waste into biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Then biodegradable can be dumped in the open grounds also, or they can be dumped in a proper way also, so that it can turn into manure also. And using that manure into the fields will enhance the fertility of the soil also. That is what we call as composting. This method, where the biodegradable waste is allowed to convert, to degrade on its own by using the certain degradable items like by microbes and all that. Even sometimes enzymes are spread over the biodegradable waste, so that the composting occurs hastily, so that composting जो है वो बहुत जल्दी जल्दी हो जाएगी. And then that compost which is being prepared will be turned into manure, and then manure can be used. But problem is we do not segregate the waste. हमारी सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है कि हम वेस्ट को सेग्रीगेट ही नहीं कर रहे हैं, एंड जब तक वो नहीं होगा तब तक हमारी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं हो सकती. देन वी कैन सेलेक्ट वन मोर मेथड, ऑल्दो ओपन डंपिंग. That is, this conventional method of waste disposal, that we allow the heaps of garbage to be at a particular place. But this is the most unscientific way of disposing the waste. Landfills. There are certain low-lying areas where the waste can be dumped. But again, let me tell you, it's a most unscientific way of waste disposal, because it can give rise to large of diseases also. First, aesthetic value decreases of that particular city where the heaps of garbage is created. Second, it gives a stinky smell. Third, it's a breeding ground for those organisms which cause the disease. These are the unscientific way. There is one scientific way, that's called as incineration. Now, what's that? It's that all the combustibles waste, all the combustible waste is burnt at very high temperature, that is nearly 1000 degrees Celsius. And the waste is the just 10 the ashes which are left behind is just the 10% of the total waste which we have burned. But let me tell you, burning also has it adds to the atmospheric pollution. So better is these use these three: recycle, reuse, and reduce. We have to make use of the items again and again. And if it is possible, ban that item, particularly the plastic ones, plastic bags. Instead of plastic bag, use the cloth bags. We must look for that material. We have to do the research. We must look for that kind of material where it's easy for decompose, not like polythene, which is non-biodegradable substance. All right. So this is how can we manage the garbage. One is recycle, reduce, reuse, most probably open dumping. That, but these are the some waste disposable methods which have been used over the period of the time in India. But these are the most unscientific method. But let me tell you, segregation of the waste is one of the important things which we need to do.